What's up YouTube? Capital G here talking Zoodiac Beast in this video and asking a question. Do you guys think that there is a legitimate chance that we could be seeing an emergency ban list aimed directly at this new archetype coming out of Raging Tempest? And honestly, that coming out of my mouth sounds a little ludicrous, especially from a player who has played the game so long as I have, because there have only been 3 emergency ban lists in the TCG's history. But when I look at this Zoodiac Beast deck, guys, it is damn near unrivaled, the dominance that it has had in the OCG. I mean, there have been other decks that we have just seen really rip through the OCG and been really strong, like ABC and Shadows, but not this strong, guys. This deck is almost 90% of the meta upwards, and I'm not telling you guys anything that you don't already know. Whether you look at before the January list in the OCG or afterwards, it doesn't really matter. Even other amazingly strong decks like the Wind Witch Idona Artifact, which is a deck that's designed exactly to counter Zoodiac Beast, or even Lawnmowing Inferno, it's like they just cannot keep up. Or you see Zoodiac Beast just splashed in those decks to just make them better. And it's even gotten to the point where local shops, and you guys have probably heard about this from Glasgow and Lithium, local shops have actually started outright banning Zoodiac Beast from casual play. Now, it's not competitive play. Konami would probably have like a problem with that. They'd be like, whoa, you're not about to make your own ban list. We'll basically ostracize you like we did ARG. But it just goes to show, like, even stores are stepping in and saying, look, this is a problem. People are complaining. This damn archetype is too strong, and you guys didn't hit Malmarat, so obviously the archetype's not going to get any weaker anytime soon. So one of the main reasons that I'm making this video, guys, and I usually, when I do open discussion videos like this, I'm on one side of the argument. Like, I know exactly where I stand, but on this topic, I'm not exactly sure, because I can see a bunch of reasons why Konami would want to go after Zoodiac Beast hard and probably give it a little teeny bit of time and then just wreck the fuck out of the deck. But I could also see some reasons why they're just like, no, we're just going to make you guys live with it. You dealt with Teledad, you dealt with Dragon Rulers. I'm pretty sure you guys can live with this for 5 months. So I guess I'll start with the 4. For starters, they have done it before. Like, they have a history of hitting these type of decks. When a deck gets this ridiculously absurd and it shows this much power and it's kind of drowning out everything in the meta, Konami will usually step in and take action. We saw it happen last year with Performages and Pals. I feel like there's 2 things in the TCG that Konami just cannot stand absolutely. Number 1 is tier 0 decks, and number 2 is FTKs. And a lot of times when they see these type of decks do really well at YCSs, they instantly address them. If you guys can remember the second emergency ban list, the one that happened during dad return formats, I think one of the biggest reasons that happened is because the Shadow Priestess of Ohm FTK, it actually got second place at a Shonen Jump, and Konami was like, no, fuck this. We're not going to have an FTK as like one of the best decks in the game. Or you guys saw last year, again, Performages and Pals was just putting up ridiculous numbers. It drowned out everything, and Konami not only did the emergency ban list, but then they put out an article saying that, hey, you guys have always told us that you like diversity. So that was pretty much their way of saying, we get it. You guys want formats with, you know, a whole bunch of decks. Even if you don't have a whole bunch of decks, even if you just have 3 or 4 decks, you don't want one deck. You know what I mean? You guys don't like that, so we're just going to go in and step in. And it's like, if this deck gets to that, I could see them totally repeating history, because they've kind of done it a couple of times in the past. Another reason is, I think that they understand that when there is tier 0 formats, as much as people may talk about how, you know, it's a lot more skillful and, you know, you don't have as much luck sacking, etc., Teledad is like one of the most skillful formats in history. You do get a lot more complaining from the players, and I just don't think that the average player likes the idea of going into a regional and thinking, oh joy, I get to play Teledad for the next 8 rounds or 7 rounds and maybe 1 rogue deck. Like, Konami is not dumb. They know that people complain more in tier 0 formats, and, you know, generally that might end up showing up in like the attendance numbers. People can say everything bad about the game right now, power creep and expensive cards, etc., but you guys have to remember, last year, we did see record numbers for attendance and at YCSs and at nationals and stuff like that. And I think Konami understands that last year, 2016, there were just so many different viable decks. And maybe that's one of the reasons why Yu-Gi-Oh! Saw a lot of prosperity. So I think they realized, hey, if we have a tier 0 format, there's going to be a lot less people, you know, at events. And that's not good for the game. Now, some reasons why I think that they would not want to hit the deck immediately is, number 1, Konami is still a business and they still got to protect their bottom line. They still have to sell Raging Tempest, and I know some people will say, oh, but they did it last year and they instantly kind of banned out some of the cards from Breaker of Shadows, or, you know, they hit like Monkey Board and that was like a brand new card. But the thing is, I don't feel like, even though they did it to a brand new deck in Performances and Pals last year, I don't feel like it's a perfect comparison to Zoodiac Beast of this year. And I say that because Zoodiac Beast is one specific archetype that comes out of Raging Tempest. And believe me, they are the chase archetype of that fucking set. Like, Konami needs them to sell that set. Don't get me wrong, there's other good cards in there like Lawn Mowing Next Door and the Infernoid stuff and the BLS stuff. Like there's some good cards in Raging Tempest that people would want, but not as much as in like Breaker of Shadows. Even with Konami hitting this stuff last year, those were two different archetypes that combined to make one deck. That's why it was called Performages and Performa Pals. It's two different archetypes. If they hit Zoodiac Beast, man, there's not going to be a whole lot of reason for people to go out and buy boxes of Raging Tempest, because at that point, you're pretty much just looking for a couple of cards and like Lawn Mowing and maybe a couple of other niche cards like Buster Blader and stuff like that. I don't think that they can sell as many products. With Breaker of Shadows last year, yeah, they hit Pepe really fast, but I mean, God, guys, there was still Solemn and Twin Twisters. Those cards are basically staple. There was still Nephthybis for all the Atlantean players. You know, a lot of control decks were using Rafflesia, so heroes and stuff like that. So I felt like Breaker of Shadows was a set that it still had so much stuff to offer. And if Konami does end up doing an emergency ban list maybe 5 or 6 weeks in to the life cycle of Zoodiac Beast, maybe there won't be that much of a reason for people to go out and buy boxes of Raging Tempest. I think they know that. I think they also could think that maybe this is a slippery slope. Maybe they think if they hit Zoodiac Beast, then man, every time there's a really strong deck that people complain about, you know what I mean? Do they want to make these emergency ban lists? Like, do they want to make it an every other year thing? Do they want to make it an every year thing? Remember, they've only done this 3 times in, like, well, I've been playing the game 15 years. There's only been 3 emergency ban lists, so I think it has to be some extreme circumstances. But at the same time, Zoodiac Beasts are expected to be one of the, I'm gonna say, probably top 10 decks ever. So where do you guys stand on this side of or on this argument? Do you guys think that there is a possibility? I definitely will say this. I think that there is a possibility, yes, that we could see an emergency ban list. Like, I don't know if it's YCS Seattle that's going to be the first legal YCS for Raging Tempest, or if it's the one after that. But if Zoodiac Beasts do something fucking crazy, like they take 39 or anywhere upwards of like 28 spots out of 30, I think Konami might raise an eyebrow. They might look at the deck like, okay, well, we're either going to take this deck out now, or you guys are going to have 5 months to play it, and we're going to hammer the shit. Like, we're just going to ban Momrat outright, because obviously they didn't test it in the OCG. Where do you guys stand on this argument? Because I could totally see it going both ways. I do think that Zoodiac Beast will get hit, but this is kind of crazy because we don't get decks this strong every day. This is like one of the strongest decks that we'll see of the last decade. You know what I mean? It's easily up there with Performages and Pals and Teledad and shit like that. So anyways, whatever you guys think might happen or could possibly happen, maybe there are you guys out there who are just like, no cap, there's 0% chance that the deck could actually get hit. They're not going to hit it until they sell all the product. That's perfectly fine. But again, just remember, if people aren't going to tournaments, that's a problem too, because maybe they don't want to just play, you know, 6-7 rounds of just straight Zoodiac Beast. Whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already.